I wanted to touch upon a topic of study. Some of you may be studying before you watch this video. Other people may have been out of school for a long time. I wanted to talk about the importance of kind of knowing about the thing that you want to draw. So, more often than not, and I'm guilty of this as well, and I still kind of do this, you may draw something such as a worm, or I think it's a mealworm or something like that. It becomes a beetle, I believe. But you have an image of something you want to draw, and you may just you may draw it. And maybe it's not important for you to understand 100% about the thing that you are drawing. And I'm not saying that it has to be. But if you think about it, it could be extremely beneficial to, one, look at it closer. And here you can see that there were a lot of mistakes I made as I drew this mealworm. But the important thing is you could always fix your mistakes. There's always a way. You may have to draw it again, again. But it can also be helpful to learn about the given thing. So, even though I only have one view of this worm here, and worms are a bit more simple. Perhaps I should have used a more complex example, but sometimes it could be beneficial to work with multiple views of the given bug, because there's a lot I don't know about this bug. Some people may be really surprised that they're like, how many legs does it have? So I always recommend, one, that you have your reference right next to you, and I mean, it's a free app. I hope I don't seem like I'm trying to sell it. It's free. I have this app called Thumbtastic you can use to easily bring your images with you. Why can't I get that off the screen? Okay, I did. But the other thing I think is important is sometimes you may want to kind of Google about the thing. Or you can go to a Wikipedia for mealworms. And that's what I'm doing right now. I kind of have that off screen. For some reason, I keep thinking, if it's a mealworm larva, you think that they would only have 6 legs because it's an insect. Wow, they're really strange. I wish it would just tell me how many legs they have. So I guess you could always Google that. How many legs does a mealworm have? Or if you're using ChatGPT, feel free to use that as well. Yeah, it only has 6 legs, and that's what I thought. It's kind of weird because you can see it here, and it's kind of back. The other aren't visible. It's never good to make assumptions about something that you see until you can kind of understand it a little bit more. I'm going to try to save. No, it's not going to allow me to do it. You could Google what a mealworm looks like if you want to, but they're an interesting looking beetle. But they have 6 legs. But I want to say it's very strange that if you would look and study a mealworm compared to a caterpillar compared to an inchworm. So this mealworm larva, I believe is what they would call it, only has 6 legs. I think caterpillars have all these other things. I'm not sure if they would count as legs. I'm guessing they have to. I just don't know enough about them. And if you look at an earthworm, earthworms don't have any legs. And if you look at an inchworm, they have legs, but they have to inch. So caterpillars will flow. Caterpillars will move. They'll kind of move along the surface that they're crawling around. But when it comes to an inchworm, they have to inch, i.e. why they're called inchworms. They don't have that middle section of legs, so they kind of inch up when they move. hence the name inchworm. I know that's not their scientific name, but I'm trying to emphasize the importance of a study, because it could be fun. Like, don't let me remind you of the bad school days you may have had, or the awful tests and short time to memorize a bunch of stuff that I can no longer remember, and now question why I learned in the first place just to get a... Sorry, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the important thing to note is really give yourself time to look at your reference, because not everything is as you see it. Like, it could be a very dangerous thing to make assumptions about insects, for example. I made the head way too big. I made the pinch here way too big. This is a very gestural thing. I really have to spend more time drawing larvae. They're just so gestural. Pinch more. Oh, they're hard to do. I'll tell you that. They're very, very, very hard to draw. I didn't think I would struggle so much, but hey, you only get good at what you draw all the time. And I have not been drawing enough larvae. It's not perfect. It could be a lot perfect, but I want to go down a rabbit hole. Like, they have like this section here, and I think I see, like, I'm not sure what you would call them. Its little mouth thing. And I could see some eyes. I'm not sure how many eyes mealworms have. I mean, I'm pretty sure they only have 2 pairs of eyes, but the other things are probably like sensors of some type, or detectors. And, you know, I kind of see like a little leg there, and I kind of see a little leg up the body. I'm pretty sure there's one over here, but I just can't see it based on the perspective of how this worm meal sits in 3D space. But like I said, it's also kind of like these assumptions I'm making are a bit dangerous, because I don't know all sides of the mealworm, and I also didn't get this as straight as I wanted to, or as gestural. I'm a bit disappointed with that, but I'm not gonna let it bring me down. But at least you can learn from my mistakes. Like, you know, I'm taking a lot of this inchworm at face value. Like, I'm pretty sure all of these wrapping sections around it, it's kind of like a shell to a certain extent. I'm pretty sure all of these wrapping sections probably serve as some form of protection against predators. I mean, I feel like larvae do not have a good deal of protection when it comes to their back. And I kind of know I'm probably making some big mistakes here. Like, I'm using partial ellipses to kind of show the banding of these things. Like, I don't even know if they have that many sections to them. Like, they may all have the same number of sections, and maybe different based on male or female, which is another important thing to note, because various bugs have alternate forms depending on the gender, whether it's male or female, and that could really throw you off. Like, if you look at spiders or arachnids, not all, but most, I wanted to say, is it the abdomen? You know, the big ball part on the back of them. I can't remember if it's the abdomen or the thorax. I'm gonna kick myself for that. But I wanted to say that females have like that bigger back part compared to males, which are a bit more even. So it's always important to note the differences, because you may be looking at one reference, but you're looking at a different gender of it, and it can kind of throw you off. Like, you may end up combining a male and female into one insect, and there's just a bunch of inconsistencies with it, and it's just something to be aware of. And you know, kind of understanding the full picture when it's difficult to. I guess what I would say is always strive and always try but know that sometimes you may not have a good answer, but try your best, you know? And not even to go down the rabbit hole in which there are some butterflies that the male and females are exactly the same, and there's no good way to tell whether they are male or female. I think some of them, like, I mean, even if you look into snails, they're like, some of them have the ability to become one or the other, and they usually fight to determine who's going to be the male and who's going to be the female. So you have, you know, they're both. So it's like completely, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, bugs are pretty cool. But yeah, there's, like I said, I made a lot of dangerous assumptions here. And always be aware of what you're trying to draw. And be aware of, you know, you have your known knowns, your unknown knowns, your unknown unknowns. And that, I think, did I cover it all? Or known unknowns? I messed up one of those. But just try to make sure that if you're trying to draw something, that you do like a thorough study of it. I mean, granted, most people wouldn't be able to tell inconsistencies, but the true professionals out there will be able to tell the true identifiers. Maybe that's the right word, not really sure. But yeah, I encourage you to study stuff more. And I think, you know, I'm kind of breaking my own rule here because I'm only using one reference. I probably should have brought in another image. And how about I try to do that real quick? Yeah. I probably, you know what? I would say it's probably more important for me to do a whole bunch of studies rather than just one, because I feel like, a study implies that you would do a bunch and not just one. And I sure hope I hope Bing's not preventing me from, okay, this will provide a great study. This is awesome. Okay. I'm gonna bring up another image in like half a second. If my computer will let me. Okay, look, we have another view of the mealworm here. You know, the thing is, when I was looking at these legs, I assumed that they are way too straight. But if you look at the mealworm here, I kind of missed out on the antenna, which I think there's one right there, and I didn't really see it, and I think I thought it was a mouth part, when it's really like a mini, or a feeler. I also missed out on how, like, the legs are more, like, they're like two-part, and they kind of like attach more, and I just drew them as like little sticks. I mean, granted, that's all I had, but it could also be beneficial to study more visually complex photos of your reference. So like I said, you know, I kind of did this on purpose to show you that I was lacking information, and there's probably like a lot more information that I'm lacking just because of I'm only studying one view of it. So yeah, study the thing that you want to do, have fun with it, try to draw a bunch of different views to get a full 360 understanding of the thing. You may even want to read an article about the given thing, like mealworms, for example. But yeah, I think that kind of explains it. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. If you like what I do, please subscribe. But yeah, thank you for listening. Bye.